Still working out of that shoebox downtown? My brother David smirked, adjusting his Italian silk tie in the reflection of his champagne glass. What was it, a whole 300 square feet? The crystal chandeliers of the Metropolitan Club cast elegant shadows across the gathering for my father's 65th birthday celebration. The club's prestigious address had been my family's favorite boasting point since I could remember, right up until this morning when my real estate holdings company had quietly acquired the entire building. It's cozy, I replied mildly, checking my phone as another alert came in. Final paperwork complete. Metropolitan Tower ownership transfer recorded. All tenant notifications ready for morning distribution. Cozy is Elizabeth's way of saying all she can afford, my sister Catherine chimed in, her designer bracelet catching the light. Though you really should consider that office space in Dad's building. The janitor's closet just opened up. If they only knew that I own not just the Metropolitan Club, but the entire block, including the prestigious tower where their own offices occupied the top floors. All carefully hidden behind layers of shell corporations and property management companies. Elizabeth's always been more practical in her ambitions, my stepmother Patricia pronounced, her Chanel suit probably worth more than what they thought I earned in a year. Not everyone is meant for prime real estate. I suppressed a smile, thinking of the morning's acquisitions meeting in my real office, a sweeping penthouse command center where I orchestrated the purchase of Manhattan's most coveted properties over breakfast. Remember when she tried to join the real estate development division? David laughed, swirling his aged bourbon. Dad made the right call there. She couldn't even read a basic floor plan. Those basic floor plans had helped me identify every structural weakness in their building information I'd used to systematically acquire neighboring properties until I controlled their entire business district. How's that shared printer working out? Catherine inquired with false sweetness. Still jamming on big files? The shared printer was a maintained fiction, just like my modest office and struggling business. My real operations center occupied 3 floors of a downtown tower, though they still thought I worked from a converted storage space. It manages, I said quietly, checking another alert. All building management transitions complete. New lease terms prepared for distribution. You really should let David help you with property investments, Patricia persisted. Even a small retail space would be better than that glorified closet. David nodded sagely, unaware that Atlas Properties, my real estate empire, controlled more premium office space than his entire portfolio had ever managed. Start with something simple, maybe a food court kiosk? My phone lit up again. Manhattan commercial real estate markets responding to ownership transfers. Significant valuation adjustments expected at opening. I'll consider it, I replied softly, watching the family that had mocked my small office hold court in what was now my building. The same family that would soon learn that their unsuccessful daughter owned not just this club, but most of their favorite Manhattan addresses. Did you at least fix that leaky ceiling? David asked, drawing snickers from his real estate developer friends. Water damage isn't great for client meetings. The leaky ceiling story was part of my carefully constructed image. While they laughed at my supposed maintenance problems, I was acquiring the city's most prestigious properties through my network of holding companies. Elizabeth just needs to accept her limitations, Patricia added, patting my hand with rehearsed concern. We can't all be real estate magnates like David. My phone vibrated. Wall Street Journal exclusive secured. Commercial real estate empire reveal set for morning edition. I thought about the empire I'd built while they assumed I was struggling with printer jams. The vast network of premium properties, all operating under different management companies, all leading back to Atlas Properties and to me. That downtown neighborhood is really more your speed, David smirked, checking his reflection in a window. Keeps you connected to the real world, doesn't it? If he only knew that I own not just that downtown neighborhood, but virtually every premium address in their social circle's rotation. The buildings where they held power lunches, the offices where they closed deals, the luxury apartments where they lived, all quietly acquired by my various holding companies. Eviction notices prepared, my chief operations officer texted. All premium tenants being notified of ownership change and lease terminations. I looked around the opulent club, at David boasting about his latest trophy property, at Catherine flaunting her social connections, at my father basking in the success of his real business heir. In less than 12 hours, they would learn that the daughter they'd relegated to a shoebox actually owned the roof over their heads and was about to remove it. Execute as planned, I texted back, settling in to watch the carefully constructed world of the Richardson family crumble from my perfect vantage point at the budget table. The first wave of chaos hit Manhattan's real estate elite at exactly 7 a.m. the next morning. Phones began lighting up across the city as overnight emails delivered the same message. Notice of lease termination, Atlas Properties acquisition. I sat in my real office, a 6,000-square-foot penthouse command center with panoramic views of the city I largely owned, watching security feeds as my family arrived at their soon-to-be former offices. This has to be a mistake. David's voice echoed through my monitoring system as he frantically waved the eviction notice at his secretary. Atlas Properties? They can't just buy the building and kick us out. My executive assistant Morgan appeared with a fresh stack of documents. The press is gathering in the lobby, Ms. Richardson. Would you like to make the announcement here or at their offices? Let's give them a few minutes to process, I replied, watching David attempt to reach his high-level real estate contacts, all of whom now reported to me. How many properties are in today's notification batch? 37 premium buildings, Morgan confirmed, pulling up the list. Including your father's corporate headquarters, David's development firm, Catherine's luxury condo, and Patricia's beloved country club. My phone buzzed with an urgent text from Catherine. Some ridiculous mistake with the building lease. Can you ask your property manager friends about Atlas Properties? Those property manager friends are executive vice presidents in my company, I murmured, watching her pace her corner office through the security feed. Another alert flashed. Wall Street Journal headline live. Manhattan's Shadow Queen. Elizabeth Richardson revealed as Atlas Properties CEO. The story was already spreading through the city's business circles. Atlas Properties, the mysterious corporation that had been systematically acquiring New York's most prestigious addresses, was run by the same woman they'd mocked for working out of a shoebox. Your father has arrived at his office, Morgan reported, switching the main screen to the Richardson Development Group headquarters. He's reading the Journal article now. I watched as my father's face drained of color, his hands shaking as he scrolled through the revelation of his practical daughter's true identity. The article detailed Atlas Properties holdings, over 100 premium Manhattan buildings, controlling interests in major development projects, and a real estate portfolio worth billions. Should we activate Phase 2? Morgan asked, referring to our planned corporate restructuring. The new building access protocols are ready. Proceed, I nodded, watching David attempt to enter his executive parking garage, only to find his access code deactivated. Make sure they understand this isn't a negotiation. My phone began lighting up with increasingly desperate messages. David, there must be some confusion. I know the real owners of this building. Catherine, whatever game you're playing with Atlas Properties, it's not funny. Patricia, your father is very upset. This prank has gone too far. They still think it's a mistake, Morgan observed, monitoring the incoming communications. Should we send the complete portfolio documentation? Not yet, I replied, watching David's growing frustration as he was denied entry to his own office. Let them see the morning news first. Right on cue, the massive screen in the lobby of their building, my building, switched to CNBC's breaking coverage. Real estate empire revealed. Elizabeth Richardson's Atlas Properties controls Manhattan's premium market. The security feeds showed my family's reactions in real time. David frozen in the lobby, Catherine gripping her desk for support, Patricia's perfect composure cracking as she realized her stepdaughter owned her favorite social club. The small office downtown, Morgan said with a slight smile, has been fully cleared out? Yes, I confirmed. The struggling businesswoman act can finally end. Though I'll miss the shared printer stories. Another wave of messages flooded my phone. David, Lizzie, please tell me this isn't real. Catherine, since when do you own buildings? Patricia, your father demands you call him immediately. The small office they love to mock, I said, standing to survey my real domain through floor-to-ceiling windows, was actually the perfect observation post. Every time they bragged about their premium addresses, they were really just cataloging my next acquisitions. Morgan pulled up the complete list of Atlas Properties holdings, a vast network of premium real estate that made my family's portfolio look like a monopoly board. Your sister's trying to access the building's ownership records, Morgan reported. Should we let her see the full corporate structure? Show her everything, I decided. Let her understand exactly who owns the roof over her head, and how quickly that roof can disappear. By noon, Manhattan's real estate landscape had been irrevocably transformed. Bloomberg's headline screamed, Atlas Properties controls 70% of premium Manhattan real estate family's buildings' first to face eviction. I watched from my real command center as my family attempted an emergency meeting in their soon-to-be former conference room. Their security access had been reduced to basic visitor status, a particularly satisfying detail I'd personally overseen. Ms. Richardson, Morgan announced, CNBC is live in their lobby. Would you like to see the coverage? Put it on the main screen, I nodded, watching David pace frantically in his corner office, an office that would be converted into a community youth center by next month. Breaking news, the CNBC anchor announced. Atlas Properties CEO Elizabeth Richardson has just announced plans to convert several premium Manhattan buildings into affordable housing and community spaces, starting with properties currently leased by Richardson Development Group. Your brother is trying to access the building's structural plans, Morgan reported, monitoring the security feeds. Should we show him the renovation blueprints? Let him see them, I smiled. He always said I couldn't read a floor plan. Let's show him what I've been planning for his precious executive suite. My phone buzzed continuously with messages from family members and their increasingly desperate business associates. David, these renovation plans can't be legal. I have rights as a tenant. Catherine, you can't just turn luxury properties into community centers. Patricia, the country club board will never allow this. The country club board was replaced this morning, I informed Morgan. Along with every other board they thought they controlled. Amazing how quickly social hierarchies collapse when ownership changes hands. The security feeds showed my father attempting to reach his high-level contacts, politicians, business leaders, social influencers. But Atlas Properties had spent years building relationships with everyone who mattered, all while they thought I was struggling with a shared printer. Your sister's real estate agent is calling, Morgan reported. Apparently she's having trouble finding a new luxury condo. I imagine she is, I replied. Atlas Properties owns 80% of Manhattan's premium residential buildings. And our new tenant screening process is quite selective. On the screens, I could see Catherine's growing panic as she realized every prestigious address she called was owned by her unsuccessful sister. The same sister they'd mocked for working out of a tiny downtown space. The architectural plans are ready for their review, Morgan said, pulling up detailed renderings. Would you like them to see how their offices will be transformed? Send everything, I nodded. Let them see exactly what happens to premium real estate when it falls into the hands of someone they thought couldn't read a floor plan. The renderings showed dramatic transformations. David's executive suite becoming a technology training center for underprivileged youth, Catherine's luxury condo building converting to mixed-income housing, Patricia's country club transforming into a public recreation center. Your father's trying to access the corporate ownership records, Morgan reported. Should we let him see how long you've been acquiring his properties? Show him the complete timeline, I decided. Let him understand that while they were mocking my small office, I was quietly buying everything they valued. The timeline revealed years of strategic acquisitions, each purchase carefully hidden behind shell companies and holding corporations. Every time they'd bragged about a prestigious address, they'd unknowingly highlighted another target for Atlas Properties. Ms. Richardson, Morgan interrupted, the Wall Street Journal is requesting comment on your next phase of acquisitions. They're particularly interested in the community development aspects. Tell them Atlas Properties believes in responsible urban development, I replied, watching David's face as he realized his trophy properties would soon house the very people he'd spent years excluding. Sometimes the best use of premium real estate isn't maximizing profit, it's maximizing impact. My phone lit up with another round of desperate messages. David, you can't do this to your own family. Catherine, where are we supposed to go? You own everything. Patricia, your father built this legacy. No, I said quietly, surveying the empire I'd built while they underestimated me. Dad built a real estate company. I built something much bigger. I built change. The security feeds showed the growing chaos as reality set in. Their access cards deactivated, their parking spaces reassigned, their carefully constructed world crumbling under the weight of their own arrogance. Should we begin Phase 3? Morgan asked, referring to our comprehensive urban development plan. The community organizations are ready to tour the properties. Proceed, I nodded. Let's show Manhattan what happens when real estate serves people instead of egos. Because sometimes the best revenge isn't just buying their buildings, it's transforming them into something that actually matters. Oh, and Morgan? I added, watching my family's increasingly frantic attempts to maintain their crumbling status. Make sure they receive the complete development plans. Especially the part about converting their executive bathrooms into public restrooms. The next wave of headlines would call it the most dramatic transformation in Manhattan real estate history. But it was more than that. It was proof that true power isn't about having the biggest office. It's about having the biggest vision. One last thing, I said as Morgan prepared to implement the final phase of our plan. Make sure they understand that my small office downtown wasn't just a workspace. It was a watchtower. And I saw everything they never thought I could achieve. Because sometimes success isn't about having the most prestigious address. It's about quietly owning all the addresses while they're too busy mocking your shoebox. And I owned them all, right down to the janitor's closet they thought was my destiny. Time to go home, I smiled, gathering my things. Oh wait, they'll need new homes too. Shame about those lease terminations.